My wife is treating me better, and it's pissing me off. I, 32, male, told my wife, 29, female, that I wanted a divorce last week, and she acted like I completely blindsided her. She was shocked. She had no idea I wasn't happy, and it's taking a lot for me not to blame myself for that. I feel like our relationship has been on a steady decline since we said, I do, 3 years ago. Before we got married, there were some red flags, but nothing that prepared me for just how manipulative she would be throughout our marriage. I don't even think she's aware of it. Hell, I wasn't even aware of it until recently. First, I was the butt of her jokes. Little jabs here and there that were hilarious. Just ask her. When I told her that I didn't appreciate being mocked or having my personality or my job be part of a joke, she insisted that I was overreacting. I believed her. Things continued to escalate. I had told her early on, due to trauma, that I didn't like being called names. So when we had fights, she started calling me names. Selfish, a-hole, prick, etc. I never know if something will set her off, but I know specifically if I tell her that something she did or said upset me, that there will be a fight. I will get called names and I will apologize. She told me that it wasn't that I was upset, it was how I reacted when I became upset. I believed her and did my best to correct it. When I stopped reacting, she said it wasn't that I was upset, it was my energy, or how I looked at her that made her upset. I believed her. If I disagree with a change she wants to make to the house, or something she wants to buy, despite pretty much letting her do whatever she wants to avoid conflict, I'm close-minded and don't appreciate the thought she put into it. So I try to be more open-minded. We both work full-time, but I cook most of the meals, do the dishes after I've cooked, clean the kitchen, and am the primary caretaker for the dogs. I also clean anything that is too yucky. That didn't stop her from making me feel like I was never doing enough. I didn't get a ton of appreciation for what I did, but I definitely heard about the things I didn't do. So I kept trying to do more. I told her that I didn't want to be called names, that I felt like I didn't have any space, much less a safe space, to share my feelings, and that I felt like I was doing everything I could around the house and to support her. That was several months ago. Now, though, I guess I felt like it fell on deaf ears because I never saw any improvement. So I stopped asking her to change how she was treating me. At this point, you're probably asking yourself, well, sir, why did you stay for so long? I'm so glad you asked. When we weren't busy fighting and she was in a good mood, we got along great. During those times, she was quick to tell me how cute and smart I am. We would make each other laugh until we cried. I knew she didn't mean all those terrible things she said. She just gets emotional because of how much she loves me. Also, my friends and family absolutely adore her. She's made my family part of her social circle. My sister even told me that my wife is her best friend. An onlooker would have no idea that we're having problems, especially since I made it a point to never speak negatively about our relationship to our friends and family, because I didn't feel like that would be right. Being the social butterfly that she is, though, her friends know how much I struggle to be happy and properly communicate. Another big reason I stayed is that I'm an insecure people pleaser. There's a reason I was so easily convinced that I was the problem. My wife and my sister even had a little intervention to get me on medication, further solidifying that everything was my fault. I was terrified of leaving because I didn't, and still don't, want to hurt my wife. I love her. I don't want to hurt my friends and family. I don't want to split up our dogs. I'm also the prodigal son in my immediate family. I'm supposed to be perfect. I have a good job, a beautiful and kind wife who has an even better job. Why would I ruin any of that? Then I started individual therapy, and it turns out there's a lot of vocabulary terms for all of the crap I've been through. I deserve to have my feelings acknowledged, and it's not my responsibility to make sure that everybody is happy at the expense of my own happiness. If you're still with me, thank you for reading. I'm finally getting to my inspiration for writing this. After I told my wife I wanted a divorce, she called my sister, and then my sister called me. After my sister accused me of cheating, because why else would I want to leave so quickly? My wife and sister convinced me to stay for a few months while we try couples therapy. We dabbled in couples therapy but never really committed, so I agreed to give it a shot. Since I told my wife I wanted a divorce, she has been perfect. She's apologized profusely, let me share my feelings. and has been thanking me for everything that I do for us, and it is making me so angry. I want to give couples therapy a shot. I really do. I believe more now than ever that therapy can be very helpful, but her being so great to me is showing me that she was always capable of being better to me. For some reason, that hurts more than anything. When I told her how much I hated being called names, how much I hated the constant criticism, and the anxiety of feeling like I couldn't do enough, she could have been better. Other than the catharsis of typing this out, I was wondering if anybody else has been through a similar situation. Am I overreacting to her newfound empathy? How helpful did you find couples therapy? Thank you again for taking the time to read and/or share your experiences. All right, time for some comments. First up, from Shaved Caterpillar. Are you my wife? After 15 years, tons of red flags, and begging her to seek counseling, I finally, after another angry meltdown directed at the kids, told her I couldn't live like this for the rest of my life. She's been a saint for the 5 weeks since then. Between the trauma bonding from both of us and the accompanying emotional roller coaster, I'm not sure there is a solid enough foundation to build off of. I wish I had followed my gut at the 3-year mark and many other junctures and gotten out. I too felt like I had hit a point of no return. I feared I'd be letting everyone else down, didn't want to hurt her, and feared being alone. 12 years of marriage and 4 kids later, I realized that was all a drop in the bucket. I'd be gone yesterday if it wasn't for the kids, still thinking it needs to end sooner rather than later. Too much to do, too little time. Next, from From my experience, the change is temporary. I asked for separation a week ago for the second time in a 4-year marriage. I fell for the sweet act the first time, and now I'm kicking myself because I could have been 2 years out of this marriage, living a more peaceful life had I not given in the first time. So here we are again. Same lack of communication, lack of respect, separate sleeping, separate lives basically. But all of a sudden, the last 2 days he's Mr. Wonderful. I'm not falling for it this time, but I feel sorry for him. I know the pain he's trying to avoid because I've been dealing with it for the 4 years of marriage, and quite honestly, the 10 years of the relationship. I'd never wish that pain on anyone, not even him. I have to remind myself that his pain will subside probably within a few months after I leave in August, and he'll find another victim of his emotional abuse. But if I stay, my pain continues for years. So that keeps me focused and able to look past his temporary niceties. I suggest you do the same and not waste any more precious time. Good luck. Moving on to the next story. My first love left me for her ex-boyfriend. I can't move on and I'm so tired. My ex and I dated for 7 months. I'm 25 and she is 21. She was my first everything. First girlfriend, first sex, first real love. She got to know me like no one ever before, and I had the chance to know a lot about her too. Before we started dating, I knew her for about a year. She was a couple of months past being dumped by her boyfriend, but she didn't seem that upset. She was the one who flirted with me and asked me out first. Our date was amazing, and she suggested that we went to my apartment to keep the night going. It was my first time, and I was dead nervous. She was so lovely and comprehensive. We started to see each other every week because the pandemic began. I would drive for an hour just to see her every week and spend the day with her. I tried to be the best boyfriend I could. I was so proud of the things she was doing, her accomplishments. I was discovering more about her and her family, and I honestly fell in love because I could see her flaws and decided that I accepted them and still cared a lot. During this pandemic, I stayed with her to give her safety and comfort during these uncertain times. She always said how amazing, incredible, and beautiful I was. I would randomly bring her flowers that I saw on the way home. I would cook her breakfast when she slept at my place, and I would be the best person I could to make her feel loved and cared. After 5 months, the ex who dumped her came looking for her and how he regretted leaving her. She became really cold towards me. We weren't having sex anymore, and she would barely text me. Then one weekend, she broke up with me to focus on herself and heal better from past relationships. She cried and said how special I was and that I must be an angel or something. After a few days, she went to travel with her ex-boyfriend to the place I was suggesting we should go. That killed me inside. They were talking behind my back and she was in love with him all along, just using me to forget about him. When he got back, I wasn't necessary anymore. All this happened almost 6 months ago, and I haven't talked or seen her since. I know they are still together, and I'm still so hurt. My first love was a lie, and I was a quick fix for someone. Even after all this time, I miss so much the girl I thought she was. I'm feeling like garbage still, and I can't move on. Today, I accidentally saw a book she gave me because it was her favorite. I sat down and cried like it all happened yesterday. I shouldn't care for someone who doesn't care about me and left me for an ex, but there isn't a day that I don't wish her back and would do anything to see her again. I dream about her, and my heart is so heavy. I still love her, but please, I don't want to love her anymore. I just want this pain to stop. Our one and only comment comes from Man with a Sandwich. Your first breakup is always the hardest, but this was extra harsh. You were a rebound. I think you know that now. This is the danger of being too naive and dating. 7 months and you are this attached to someone, my guy. That is not something you want to be doing in this day and age. No good deed goes unpunished, so temper your feelings with rationality next time. Because there will be a next time, you'll find someone right for you. Forget this girl. She and her boyfriend are very, very young and dumb and selfish, as most 21-year-olds that date are. Be careful who you give your heart to, and be thankful you only lost 7 months. Learn from your mistakes and focus on the person who you need to be. A few months after this, she'll be just someone you used to know. So don't be an emotional wreck and start texting her at night. Erase her number